A yellow weather warning has just been issued for the entire United Kingdom tonight. And if you live in Northern England or Scotland, what is coming in the next few hours could catch you completely off guard. But here is the thing most people do not realize. The real danger is not the rain itself. It is what happens between 9 and 11 tonight when this system hits its absolute peak. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will know exactly when the worst weather reaches your city, what temperatures to expect hour by hour, and the one mistake drivers are making tonight that is causing accidents across the motorway network right now. And if you stick around until the 5-minute mark, I will reveal which major city is about to see snowfall that nobody is talking about yet. Right now, as you are watching this, a massive band of moist Atlantic air is sweeping across the United Kingdom from west to east. This is not just ordinary February drizzle. The Met Office has slapped a yellow warning on the entire country, and they do not do that lightly. We are talking about persistent heavy rainfall that could overwhelm drainage systems, cause localized flooding in low-lying areas, and turn roads into skating rinks. But the temperatures tonight, and this is where it gets interesting, are sitting at 7 degrees Celsius as a minimum. That is remarkably mild for the 6th of February. Normally, we would be scraping ice off windscreens at this time of year. Instead, we have got warm Atlantic air pumping moisture across the country like a fire hose. Now, let me break this down city by city, because where you live tonight makes an enormous difference. And I want you to drop a comment right now telling me your location so I can give you a personalized forecast in the comments. Seriously, type your city or town below. I read every single one. Let us start with London. If you are in the capital right now, here is your timeline. From 6 this evening through to around 8, you are looking at light drizzle, overcast skies, temperatures sitting comfortably between 10 and 11 degrees Celsius. That is almost spring-like. But do not be fooled. Between 8 and 10 tonight, the rain intensifies. Heavier spells move through and temperatures start sliding down to 8 degrees Celsius by midnight. Visibility stays reasonable, so the tube and buses will run fine. But here is what the forecast does not tell you. Roads across London are already slick. The combination of weeks of grime on tarmac plus fresh rain creates a film that is more slippery than ice in some cases. If you are driving tonight, double your following distance. I am not exaggerating. Before I move on, one critical point about London tonight. The Underground is running a good service, but if you are on the District or Metropolitan lines, expect minor delays due to signal issues unrelated to weather. Overground services remain normal. Black cab and rideshare drivers expect longer journey times as traffic slows on wet roads. The M25 will be particularly busy this evening with Friday commuters, and standing water has already been reported on sections near Junction 15. Now moving north, and this is where things start to escalate. Manchester. Listen carefully if you are anywhere near Greater Manchester tonight. The rain here is not drizzle. It is persistent, heavy, and relentless. Temperatures range from 6 to 9 degrees Celsius, which sounds mild until you factor in the wind and 90% humidity. It will feel closer to 3 degrees Celsius on exposed skin. The heaviest downpours hit Manchester between 7:30 and 10 tonight. That is your danger window. And if you are heading to Old Trafford or the Etihad this evening for the football, I hope you packed more than a hoodie. You will need full waterproofs. The motorways around Manchester, particularly the M60 and M62, are reporting reduced visibility already. Slow down. Birmingham, England, a second city, gets caught right in the middle of this system. Temperatures from 7 to 10 degrees Celsius with persistent drizzle all evening. But here is the twist that most forecasters miss. The city centre, with all those tall buildings around the Bullring and New Street, creates wind tunnel effects. You could be walking along perfectly fine, turn a corner, and get hit by a gust that nearly takes your umbrella inside out. The peak rainfall in Birmingham hits between 8 and 10:30 tonight. After that, it eases to light drizzle. Liverpool. Now, Liverpool is where this gets particularly nasty. The city sits right on the coast, fully exposed to Atlantic winds roaring up the Mersey. Temperatures from 7 to 10 degrees Celsius. Similar numbers to Birmingham, but the wind chill factor makes Liverpool feel significantly colder. Heavy showers are expected mid-evening between 8 and 9:30. The Albert Dock area and the waterfront will bear the brunt. If you live near the coast in Merseyside, waves will be higher than normal tonight. Not dangerous, but noticeable. Keep pets and children away from the seafront. Leeds, sitting up in the hills, faces a double challenge tonight. Temperatures from 6 to 9 degrees Celsius in the city centre. But here is what I need you to hear. If you live in the western suburbs of Leeds, near the Pennines, temperatures will be 2 to 3 degrees lower than the city. And towards late evening after 10:30, there is a genuine possibility of sleet mixing in with the rain at higher elevations. That is not in most forecasts you will see tonight, but it is happening. And speaking of things most forecasters are not telling you, remember I promised you a revelation at the 5-minute mark. Here it is. Sheffield, the city at the foot of the Pennines, is not just getting rain tonight. The Peak District areas to the west of Sheffield could see actual snowfall by late evening. Temperatures there are dropping to 5 degrees Celsius in the city, but up on the hills, we are talking 2 to 3 degrees. And when that rain hits cold air at elevation, it turns to snow. If you are driving across the Snake Pass or any of the high Pennine routes tonight, you need winter tires and you need to check road conditions before you set off. Do not miss the next section either, because Scotland's forecast tonight is genuinely dramatic, and I will get to that in just a moment. But first, let me cover the rest of England. Newcastle upon Tyne. If you thought Manchester was bad, Newcastle is colder. Temperatures tonight only 4 to 7 degrees Celsius. A full 2 to 3 degrees below London. The rain is actually lighter up here than in the northwest, but the winds from the North Sea are brutal, absolutely bone-chilling. Along the River Tyne, the sea breeze effect amplifies the cold. If you are going out in Newcastle tonight, layers are not optional, they are essential. Hat, scarf, gloves, the full works. Bristol, on the other hand, catches a bit of a break. Temperatures from 8 to 11 degrees Celsius, very similar to London. Drizzle rather than heavy rain. The Clifton Suspension Bridge area gets windier due to the Avon Gorge funneling air through, but overall, Bristol has one of the more comfortable evenings in the country. Lucky you. Cardiff, just across the Bristol Channel in Wales, 8 to 10 degrees Celsius, persistent drizzle, nothing extreme. Cardiff Bay will be windier due to the Channel influence. A damp evening, but the Welsh capital avoids the worst of tonight's system, Nottingham, the heart of the Midlands. 6 to 9 degrees Celsius with rain that gets heavier around mid-evening between 8 and 9:30. Sherwood Forest, north of the city, will see greater rainfall due to the wooded terrain capturing moisture. Robin Hood would have stayed in tonight, and so should you if you can. Down on the south coast, Southampton and Brighton both enjoy milder conditions. 8 to 11 degrees Celsius in both cities. Southampton gets sea breezes around the port, and if you are planning a ferry crossing to the Isle of Wight tonight, expect choppier waters than usual. Brighton's famous Pebble Beach is definitely not the place to be this evening, but the seafront restaurants and pubs will be packed with people sheltering from the drizzle. Smart move. Oxford and Cambridge, the twin university cities, both sit at 7 to 10 degrees Celsius with persistent drizzle. Students cycling home from late library sessions, please wear something reflective. Visibility drops in drizzle, and drivers cannot see you as well as you think they can. Plymouth, right on the Atlantic coast in Devon. This is important. Plymouth gets temperatures from 8 to 11 degrees Celsius. Sounds mild, but the winds here are ferocious tonight. Direct Atlantic exposure means strong gusts, especially around the Hoe and the harbour. Heavy showers will sweep through at intervals. If you are near the coast in Plymouth, stay back from the waterfront. Those waves will be powerful. Exeter, further inland, gets a gentler version of the same system. 7 to 10 degrees Celsius, persistent drizzle, lighter winds. Classic southwest winter weather. Damp, mild, and honestly not bad for February. If you are in Exeter this evening, the Cathedral Quarter has plenty of warm pubs to shelter in. Not the worst Friday evening plan, all things considered. Now, Scotland. And I need everyone watching to pay close attention to this section because the conditions north of the border tonight are in a completely different league. Edinburgh. Scotland's capital drops to just 2 to 5 degrees Celsius tonight. That is a full 6 degrees colder than London. To put that in perspective, if you left London at lunchtime and drove up to Edinburgh, you would experience a temperature drop equivalent to climbing a mountain. Rain here will turn to sleet and snow, particularly on higher ground like Arthur S. Seat and Calton Hill. North Sea winds will be gusting at up to 35 miles per hour in exposed areas. If you are walking the Royal Mile tonight, be extremely careful. Those beautiful historic cobblestones become treacherous when wet or icy. Multiple layers, thermal base layers, waterproof outer shell. This is not a night for fashion. This is a night for survival dressing. Glasgow, 2 to 6 degrees Celsius. The west of Scotland catches the full force of Atlantic moisture, which means heavier precipitation. Rain and sleet alternate throughout the evening, and suburban areas and highlands around Glasgow will almost certainly see snow settling. If you live on the outskirts of Glasgow at any elevation, you could wake up to a white dusting tomorrow morning. Aberdeen. And here is where tonight's forecast reaches its most extreme. Aberdeen drops to just 1 to 4 degrees Celsius. Snow is highly likely. North Sea winds will be savage, creating what can only be described as a skin-piercing cold. Snow may accumulate on roads, making driving genuinely hazardous. If you are in Aberdeen tonight, my honest advice is this: do not go out unless you absolutely have to. And if you must drive, make sure your vehicle has winter tires and you drive at reduced speed with full headlights on. Inverness, the gateway to the Highlands, 0 to 3 degrees Celsius, possibly dropping below freezing in the late hours. Heavy snowfall around Loch Ness and the surrounding mountains is virtually guaranteed. This is full Highland winter conditions, beautiful from inside a warm cottage, dangerous if you are unprepared on the roads. So let me pull all of this together with the critical timings you need. For southern England, the rain peaks between 8 and 10:30 tonight, then gradually eases after midnight. For northern England, the heaviest falls come between 7:30 and 11, with the possibility of sleet on high ground after 10:30. For Scotland, precipitation intensifies from 7 onwards and does not ease until well after midnight, with snow continuing in the Highlands through the early hours. Now here is the good news, and do not skip this part. Tomorrow, Saturday, this entire weather system pushes away to the east. We will see gradual improvement with decreasing rainfall and even some brighter spells breaking through. However, and there is always a however, temperatures will actually drop slightly as colder air from the north replaces the mild Atlantic flow. The weekend will be a transitional period, scattered showers mixing with sunny intervals. For anyone driving tonight, remember this: aquaplaning is the biggest risk. That is when your tires lose contact with the road surface due to standing water. It can happen at speeds as low as 30 miles per hour on waterlogged roads. Reduce speed, keep a 4-second gap from the vehicle ahead, and if you feel the steering go light, ease off the accelerator gently. Do not brake hard. Also, make sure your headlights are on, even if you think visibility is fine. Other drivers need to see you, and in drizzle and spray on motorways, a car without lights on is practically invisible. The Highways Agency has already reported several minor incidents on the M1, M6 and M62 this evening, all linked to excessive speed in wet conditions. Do not become a statistic. Trains and buses across the network are expected to run normally with minor delays possible. Flights from Heathrow, Gatwick, Manchester and Edinburgh should operate without major disruption, but always check your flight status before heading to the airport. It takes 2 minutes and could save you hours of frustration. One final thing before I go: drop your city in the comments below and I will personally respond with a more detailed forecast for your exact area. I do this every single video because your local conditions matter more than any national overview. And here is your teaser for tomorrow's video. That colder air moving in from the north this weekend, there are early signals that it could develop into something much more significant by midweek. Some of the long-range models are showing potential for a major cold snap across the United Kingdom. I am talking about widespread frost, possible heavy snow even in southern counties, and temperatures that could plunge well below freezing for consecutive days. If that materializes, it would be the coldest spell since January 2024. Schools, transport networks, and hospitals would all feel the impact. I will have the full breakdown tomorrow with detailed timings for every region, so make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on so you do not miss it. This could be the most important weather forecast of the month. Stay warm tonight, stay safe on the roads, and I will see you tomorrow with that critical midweek